Hey everyone, thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Liverpool Connection podcast. We're at BD Riley's for our pub chat. Just right after the game, we beat RB Leipzig on the road in the Champions League 1-0. I have a special guest here with me today. I'm El Presidente. We have Otto Price from the Nashville Supporters Group.
That's right.
How are you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. It's great to be here. Thank you for the hospitality and the win. Thank you, boys, for the win. So,
You know, we actually have some people that are part of our supporters club. They're in Leipzig today. They took a picture with us or with themselves with our Austin scarf. So shout out to Pelle Johansson. He's over there and bringing back the 3 points. And you know, it's such a convoluted Champions League. Mm-hmm. You know, you just got to finish in the top A. You don't really know. I mean, the standings don't really mean much. But hey, once again, the team does its work.
Yep.
And it was kind of a weird game, wasn't it? Right? It seemed like to me a training session for a lot of that match.
Yeah, we were talking about this at the end. It was like you can kind of see where the boys are. They're kind of going between. Which you understand, you got two major, but you have a legend in Klopp, and then you're trying to. It's just a lot of that muscle memory. They were kind of like maintain possession, but every now and again it felt like it was a little bit of a training session of because we have Arsenal coming up this week, and so Arsenal playing this weekend, right? Yeah, so you see, there's a lot of things like they look like we were privy to a live training session.
You know, especially after the pace of the Chelsea match, right?
Yeah.
And coming right off the international break, you play Chelsea, then you have to play this game, and then obviously with an eye towards Arsenal for the weekend. But just the pace of the game was so slow, so pedestrian, and it just – I don't want to say it was kind of boring, but I think that's obviously also the way Slot has set this team up to play, right? Mm-hmm. And we got a bunch of kids out here. They're excited. You know, what a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. So one of the things that we want to mention is that compared to this time last season with Klopp, these midweek games, he was changing 8, 9, 10, 11 players every midweek game. As you see, Slot, he only changed, a couple. Obviously, Kelleher's playing in the goal again, so you can't really call it without a change. Simkis comes in for Robbo. We have Nunez starting, Gapco starting instead of, Jota, who we hope is going to be ready for the weekend. Diaz getting a break at the very beginning of the match. There's our midfield, Szoboszlai, Maka, and Gravenberch, that's our number one team anyway, right?
Yeah. It's really feels like under Slot, he has his starting 11, and it's maybe one or two players here and there, but you're going to have a consistent, which is it seems like part of his mentality that he's going to be very methodical. It's going to be very. Which is good. It may be pedestrian. It may be a little bit boring, but boring is going to be wins. So it may not be the grab and snatch or the rock and roll, the hard rock pace that we had with under Klopp, but it may be more methodical and kind of get us in a different way.
You can't argue with the success of the team. 11 games, 10 victories, right? So it's exceeded almost everyone's expectations. Anybody that's really rational, they wouldn't have thought that we'd come out with 10 victories out of 11 games. I was halfway expecting to see Klopp up there with his half and half scarf since he's on the books for Red Bull now, and Liverpool coming in there. I'm sure he was at the match just hiding. He didn't want to take any focus away from the match. But, that's another topic, right? We can discuss that, obviously. In some parts, it's not well received. In other parts, it's like, c'est la vie, but more power to him. Let him pick up his paycheck and all that stuff. But, the game itself, even though it was pedestrian, just some of the stats, without my glasses, guys, my expected goals were at 2.38?
2.38.
Yeah, to their 0.76. So, it's pretty dominant there. The possession, we're up at almost 60%. So, if you're Van Dijk, it's almost kind of a off game because you're not really having to really go much. Mm-hmm. You kind of the way we're playing, just possession, we're not really going full bore, man. It's just like, but then once we get that first goal,
Yeah.
once, obviously Salah getting it over there and Nunez,
Yeah.
I think that ball was going wide.
If any ball's close, Nunez is going to take credit for the score. It's like,
That's right.
it could be in touching the back of the net. He's going to kick it.
I'm surprised he didn't kick it off the post and it come back to him and it goes out of bounds. I mean, that's just kind of luck he's had, right?
Yeah.
But he was there in the right place.
Yeah.
Good for him to get his goal, and he wants to be such an integral part of the team. But I think that's the whole squad is like that, right?
Yeah.
And there's some chemistry there, and a lot of it obviously has been built throughout the Klopp years. But with a change of manager and the change of some starters, I mean, like Endo doesn't get to play. I mean, who was such an integral part to our team last year, he hardly gets to play now. But I mean, when he goes in there, he puts in a shift. And Nunez is not a regular starter, but he goes in there and he puts in a shift. But let's talk about Gravenberch again. Another, I don't know who the official man of the match is, but if you look at the stats, that's man of the match caliber again.
Yeah, he really. I mean, if you can, which he did, if you can kind of keep control of the midfield, I mean, you have control of the game at a certain point. Like if so that was one of our. There were a few nervy moments that were called back because of offside, but it was rare because we had such control of the midfield, and then once we had those moments to kind of attack, that's what we need, and that's something I think it's been a minute to see something like that for us to have that kind of dominance with it.
It's interesting because we haven't seen anybody with this level of consistency in a very long time. I mean, out of the 11 games that we played and the games that he's played, he's been either man of the match or right around man of the match on every single game, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of consistency, I mean, for a young lad too, right? Didn't really hardly play last season.
Yeah.
I mean, he played, but not regularly.
Yeah.
And he was still finding his feet. But for him the form that he has this season, I mean, I just want to read some of these stats from today's game. Shout out to Anfield Agenda for posting these on the X. But 95% pass accuracy, 10 passes into the final third.
That's crazy.
2 for 2 accurate long balls, 2 of 3 tackles won, 7 recoveries, 4 interceptions, 1 clearance, 5 out of 7 duels won. I mean,
he's
if that's not man of the match, that's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, it also, like you were saying, like coming from last season, not to be as integral a part of it. It's not like you can turn on a switch and become that guy, but he did. He's become that guy almost overnight, which is crazy. That in of itself is pretty astonishing to see how he's become such a linchpin in our midfield and really for the team.
It's good to see Curtis Jones come in again for a cameo.
Yeah.
So hopefully that from the performance that he had, the man of the match performance this last week, now we have another option in the midfield. But I want to shout out to Quavim Kelliger. Outside of his walkabout, I don't know what the hell he was doing. You know what I mean? And it should have been probably a goal for them if that guy would have just turned around and shoot. But outside of that, he's making the saves, and what a luxury to have that guy as our second keeper.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to understand he's not just like a number 2 behind a number 1. He's behind arguably the best goalkeeper in the world. So to keep that pace up, the other 10 guys are expecting that level of super power, and for him to kind of come in and not say he's at all replacing Allison, but just to come in and, like you said, he's putting in work, and it's really good to see.
And the only reason why it's 1-0 is because ex-Red Galashik was in the was the keeper for the other team. But but RB Leipzig, they're not just a filler team, man. They're doing well in the Bundesliga. They beat Bayer Leverkusen earlier in the season. And so it's a quality team, but we really made them look pedestrian in this game, and that was the interesting aspect of it to me, because normally in these Champions League fixtures, they don't. No one really sits back, right? They go at each other, but they really sat back, and there was a lot of time on the ball today.
Yeah, and it's one of those kind of things where you say you don't play down to your opponent. It's almost like what Liverpool's doing now is we're forcing every team to play what we want them to play. Like, that's amazing. So not only are we not playing down, but we're also dictating the pace and the way of play. So that's amazing.
You know, I know Soboslai doesn't get a lot of credit. You know, he does, and like he even mentioned this week, he does a lot of the dirty work.
Yeah.
You know, he puts in the miles, and he puts in the tackles, and the finished product isn't there. But you know, when you have a front three like we do, it's kind of a different style because during Klopp, you know, you had Hendo Genie playing in that middle, and their function was always just to. And Fabinho, their function was just to win the ball and get it to the attackers, right?
Yeah.
Where it's similar now, but we have a little bit more technical ability in that midfield, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You mentioned with Hendo, it's like a lot of it was not that it's just pass it up, but now it's like not only getting it, we may pass it, play it back, and we may, you know, switch, and you know, we're using a lot more. I heard something that Thierry Henry said about just, you know, different. He was talking about just different players throughout that make great teams. He said it's not just the physical play; it's the mental play. It's like he said he talked about some early Barcelona teams that they're thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, and that's what I'm seeing now. It's like you have that type of midfield where we're thinking 2, 3 steps ahead, not just get ball, pass it up. We're going ball here, there, boom, 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 set, and then we're going to score. That's amazing.
Yeah, not only were Barcelona 2 or 3 steps ahead of Bayern today, they're 2 or 3 or 4 goals ahead of Bayern today. So, yeah, which you know that's always funny to me. You know, anytime that Bayern can really be humbled, I'm all for it. You know, right? So, you know, one of the things that I noticed in this game too is that Trent's 1v1 defense and is covering. I don't know if it's slots. I don't know if he's just more focused, but he is playing better defensively this season than he did last season.
Yeah, I think he really is. I think it's been maybe I feel like last season he was kind of a bit of a chameleon. He was, you know, playing midfield. Am I playing midfield? Am I playing defense or am I attacking? But I feel like Slot has him really in a this is your position, this is your role. And dominate that. And what I feel like, to me, it's like there's a confidence and there's also a determination in this play that seems a little bit more ownership, for lack of a better word. Just feels like he's owning that moment, these moments a lot better.
I think you're right about the ownership part, but I also think that Slot has really tempered that. He doesn't wander around in the midfield as much as he did last season.
Yeah.
You know, he does have a position. I think not being there, but I think that Slot has really told him, hey, your primary position is right back. You know, to take care of that, and we will need that as he goes up against Martinelli on the weekend. You know, and as we go against these better right wingers, right? So you know, I thought Konate, he did what he had to do. You know, he won his challenges. You know, sometimes he gets loose with the ball coming out of the bag. I think he thinks he's Matip, but he's not really Matip, right?
I think, there's a little bit of I don't say delusional grandeur, but there's a little bit of it's excitement, I guess, at that point. And these guys are at a whole nother level. But I love what you're saying. Like, there seems to be very much a disciplinedness about under Slot's organization that's keeping this team very poised. They're not easily frazzled, and you see times where they're just trying to run back and try to get possession back. They know they can do it, and so I think because they know where they're all going to be, it keeps it a little less frenetic.
Well, anything compared to last season where it seemed like we were down a goal in every single game, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times early, and then we're playing catch up, and obviously you're exerting a lot of extra energy trying to catch up versus managing a game from the lead, right? So now we're going to have a preview podcast about the Arsenal matchup this weekend. But just real quickly we didn't rest a lot of the players, but we were able to bring Salah off, right?
Yeah.
Early. And I don't think he was too happy. He never is happy, is he?
He wants to play 90 plus every match here, Egypt, wherever he can play. I mean, good on you if you got that physique, you can do that. But I mean, yeah, he's never wants to come off. He never wants to come off.
And you got to have it like that attitude. Trent got the about 20 minutes rest. Seeing Gomez getting some more time at right back. Robbo got a lot of rest today. He comes in for Tsimikas, and I thought Tsimikas did fairly well today. Nothing spectacular, but you just got to. At the end of the day, when you're a fullback, you got to do your fullback duties, and we got a shutout. So what more can you ask for?
100%. I mean, if you can keep a clean sheet, really, I mean, gosh, it's starting to become starting to feel normal. Mm-hmm. I feel like this can be our normal. Like, you're saying like last season, it was like, you come into the match, you're down 1-0, 20 minutes in, and you're just playing catch up for the next 60 plus, and hoping by the 80th minute, we hopefully get a goal. And it's like the angst and the anxiety. I don't feel that with this team anymore. They feel like, let's just get a goal, shut it down. Almost like Jose said back in the day, park the bus.
Yeah, but we don't really park the bus,
do we? Park the bus at all. No, that's the thing. It's like we're not just goal and just park the bus. We're actually saying get a goal, get another when you can, but do not lose possession, and let's control this midfield. And then, our defense is great, and our backs are incredible. So.
Yeah, we don't seem to be as stretched out as we were last season when there was so much space between our back line, midfield, forwards, right? Everybody seemed a little bit more compact. And like we've said before, it's practically the same squad, right?
Yeah.
But just those tactical tweaks, you can tell that Slot has worked on this, and the players have bought into that style.
Well, I just think even you start, and that, again, I have a T-shirt that says "In Klopp we trust," and so, I mean, there's no words to say. I still miss him and still think he's the man. Love him, but there's something that's unflappable about the Slot team that feels, it's almost like there's a settledness. There's just a smooth ride, and so it's good to see this team. And especially so short, like you said, this is basically the same team. Very few, if any, transfers of significance, and it's almost like a different mindset. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean to do that with a very short preseason as well. Like you said, no transfers, no injection of any. I mean, Chiesa obviously played a few minutes, but really can't count that, and hopefully he'll be a factor in the spring. But before we leave, your man of the match?
I think what you said. I think midfield. Grav played amazing. I think that his control of that's to me the biggest thing. Like we talk about as coaches, you're a ref and you're a player, but me being a coach, like my midfield was if I could control the 3/3, offensive middle and defensive third, if I had the middle third controlled, I own the game. And so I just think that's our man of the match. So.
That's straight from U.S. soccer right there, guys. That's right. So before we leave, I want to give a shout out to the OLC in Nashville.
Yes.
A lot of people here from Austin have visited over there, and they've had a great time. You guys have been very accommodating there at the Party Foul. They do a great job of supporting the Reds. And, our mate Keith Dyer, who moved from here and went over there and ran the club for years. So I just want to give a shout-out because at the end of the day, it's a family, right? You knew to come here and break bread with us and watch the game, and we can't wait to see you on Sunday.
Absolutely. I'll be here back Sunday. Justin who's our president now, said, hey, here's where to go. And so I'll be here a whole week. I've seen the Champions League. I'm going to see a Premier League game here in Austin.
All right, we can't wait till Sunday. Arsenal, big match on the weekend. So thank you guys for subscribing. Please put on your notifications, like our channel, Tell your friends. We're going to continue to grow us. We're over 40,000 subscribers, and it's all because you guys are subscribing and telling your friends. So until the next time, cheers and up the Reds.
Up the Reds.